God bless the Blues Brothers. It's good to know that no one will ever touch this masterpiece. Its impression everlasting. Its spirit pure. Buster. Strip club. Russian mob. John Goodman. Queen Musette? Rats? Jake! The Blues Brothers 2000 sucks. The now brotherless Elwood Blues, Dan Aykroyd, is finally out of prison, attempting to reunite the old band and find a few new partners in crime, John Goodman and J. Evan Bonifant. In this sequel to the original Blues Brothers comedy musical, Elwood battles the Chicago police, sings and dances his way out of numerous sticky situations, and manages to get the whole band on the road for a hair-raising adventure. You can't make a Blues Brothers movie without Jake Blues. You can't. You cannot. How was this movie ever made? Why was it made? I don't understand. Jake's dead. Movie over. Curtis is dead. Movie over. The orphanage is closed. Oh. So they completely undid the ending of the first movie. It's 18 years later, and the whole point of the last movie was to keep this orphanage open, and now it's closed. Looks like you boys did all that for nothing. Oh, mission from God? Psh, you wasted your time. Just like the filmmakers wasted the time of the audience who saw this movie. All right. Let me calmly explain why this movie is a rotting, dirty piece of trash that even Pigpen wouldn't go near. First of all, nobody asked for this sequel. I still don't understand why this was made in the first place. The first movie is one of those classics that came together and became iconic despite how zany and nutty it is. The Blues Brothers was a once-in-a-lifetime movie. Blues Brothers 2000 tries to incorporate the craziness of the first in even weirder ways and fails miserably. Examples: Shaving Cream Monster Elwood, the Bluesmobile driving underwater, the Bluesmobile having a remote control, literal ghost riders in the sky, the New Orleans Witch Lady, turning them green, turning these guys into rats, and my personal favorite, whatever the f this is. The original had strange and out there ideas, but they were fun and cool, not stupid. For some reason, Elwood gets over his brother's death really quick. He goes on to try and replace him within like 24 hours of finding out he's dead. It's just so jarring to see Elwood act this way. He's a jerk for most of the movie with no redeeming qualities. He talks way too much, he gives up on everyone for no real reason, and is brought back by the worst motivational speech ever. He's just not the same character. This isn't the real Elwood. There's one moment where I saw the real Elwood in this entire movie.
Don't look back.
Seeing Aykroyd portray him this way was baffling. The audience doesn't even get a chance to mourn Jake's death before Elwood replaces him with a strip club bartender. Speaking of which, who thought it was a good idea to put a strip club in the Blues Brothers? Why does Willie now own a strip club? The scenes there serve no purpose either, much like the rest of them. Anyway, John Goodman is the new Jake, I guess. Mighty Mac, they call him. Don't get me wrong, I like John Goodman, but he's nothing in this. His character really doesn't do much or say much. It's just like, hey, it's John Goodman. Okay? He's billed second on all the promotional material, but he's a really unimportant character. They could have put a hat and glasses on a broomstick and it would have had the same effect. The other new pal Elwood makes is an orphan named Buster. We all know that 99% of the time, introducing a kid into an established property is bad news. This is no different. The character is pretty insufferable. There's one joke he's involved in that I laughed at.
Hey, Elwood, you got the keys to the trunk? It's full.
Other than that, he's a decently big reason why this movie is so obnoxious. The one person who actually had an arc in this whole movie is Curtis's illegitimate son, Cab. Joe Morton actually plays him pretty well, and I like the idea of his character. This is what the whole movie should have been about. If Jake is dead, Elwood should be crushed for a good first part of the movie. He should be in mourning, like any real person would be. When he finds out Cab had a son, his spirit should be renewed. He'd have something to hope for again. In the actual film, Elwood goes through all of these emotions in about 2 minutes, and everything is cheapened by that. The rest of the film should have involved him looking for Cab and uniting with his stepbrother. There's no need for Mac or Buster. Just getting Cab to join Elwood as a blues brother would have been something special if done the right way. The idea of Cab being a cop works okay in the movie, and he's fighting his newly found heritage. The tent revival scene isn't an awful part of the film, and it's a turning point for Cab. Much like Jake did in the original, he comes to a divine understanding about his true heritage and what he's supposed to do. Ultimately, this is a huge missed opportunity for a character that could have really had a purpose and belonged with Jake and Elwood in the Blues Brothers legacy. I should mention some of the people chasing the band in this movie, because of course there needs to be 30 different groups chasing them all the time. Besides the cops and the Penguin, Russian mobsters are also after the Blues Brothers band. Just swap out the Illinois Nazis, take out everything that made them enjoyable, and you get these Russian guys. Also, for some reason, they felt the need to include white supremacists led by Daryl Hammond. Yeah, I don't know. They all get turned into rats at the end of the movie anyway. Finally, let's talk about the music in this one. While just about every song in the original film was memorable, fun, and cool, the music in 2000 isn't even all that great. There are a more than decent amount of some pretty good song performances here, but some of them suck, and some of the songs themselves suck. The musical numbers used to be charming. In 2000, they're just forced in and shoved guest stars into the movie. The good stuff include Blues Traveler's performance, Ghost Riders in the Sky before actual Ghost Riders appeared in the sky, John the Revelator, some of the supergroup song that included B.B. King, Eric Clapton, and many other greats, whatever that Caribbean thing is that which made them do, and the Blues Brothers' last song, Turn On Your Love Light. Although I think that was partially because they used Everybody Needs Somebody's horn hook. There is some real crap thrown in there though, and it definitely hurts the film overall to have to sit through that garbage. Even the new versions of the background music were slow, dull, and boring. The dancing is pretty lame as well. It was too much for sure and came off in an unflattering way. By the way, they lose the Battle of the Bands, but it doesn't even matter because there were never any stakes in it. One could say it was pointless, like the Blues Brothers 2000. How could this one be so terrible when the original was what it was? I think you'd have to ask Dan Aykroyd and John Landis that question. I have no clue what was going through their heads when they made this thing. All I know is that it was an unpleasant experience. It brought down the Blues Brothers from a sacred property to a somewhat disposable level, and that's a damn shame. Well, life goes on. We'll always have the original. As for this piece of trash, I suggest never seeing it if you haven't. Remember, if it's not reviewed here, it just isn't real. Until next time, I'll see you at the movies.
California, you're my sweet home.